horse beef here. What's going on, everybody? I want to talk about the aftermath of Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili 2 now. I did the fucking Joshua Van Alexander Pantoja video yesterday, and I figured, yeah, there is definitely enough content, not necessarily from Merab himself, even though he has been going after Petr Yan on Twitter from what I've seen, right? But you know, a lot of the cope hasn't really come from Merab. A lot of it has really been from his coaches, and then especially Aljamain Sterling, who always just seems to talk completely out of his ass. So we'll get into all that right now. And to get started here, I want to highlight the absolute pettiness of Petr Yan. It's been so funny to read through this shit, dude. He has bookmarked or made note of comments made towards him on Twitter months back and is now rubbing it in, or he did a couple days back. I believe it was on the day of the fight, actually, or the day after, or whatever. But based on this clip right here, which has been setting off Merab, it may actually not be Petr himself active on his Twitter.
После боя вы с Мерабом так уже обменялись репликами, и так довольно все дружелюбно выглядит, не как там раньше было, когда такие были конфликтные моменты.
Что за реплики были? Это менеджер, наверное, мой писал, да?
В соцсетях?
Саят, наверное, общается с ним.
Ну возможно. А я просто хотел спросить, а вот возможно, что, допустим, будет третий бой, и после этого вы вообще как бы подружитесь там, и кто-то пригласит другого в лагерь там потренироваться?
Да нет, я думаю, что друзьями мы точно не будем.
Now, I hope that the auto captions on YouTube are accurate. I couldn't find a version of that with real captions, but I assume that it's somewhat accurate because it does paint the picture of what exactly Merab is upset about on Twitter, because he's been going after Petr, as I said, because Merab did put out this tweet, right? A big thank you to all my family, friends, fans, teammates, and my country for your outpouring of love and support for me. Win or lose, you guys always stand by me, and I'm extremely grateful. I apologize for disappointing you with a loss, but please know I will 100% come back stronger and ready for war again, and I will reclaim what is mine. I am fine for everyone setting their concerns. Just a few stitches. I will try and respond to all my texts, but please don't take my non-response personally. Your messages are all important yet overwhelming, and I appreciate every single one. Saturday was not my night. Yan was the better man, and I congratulate him and his team on their win. Don't get too comfortable. I am taking it right back in what I hope is a rematch as soon as possible. Thanks again, everyone. See you soon. And then Petr Yan replies saying, quick recovery. See you. Merab says, thanks, champ. So a pretty innocuous little interaction right there, but a show of respect from Petr. But I guess off the back of that previous interview with Petr that I showed in Russian, a fuse has been lit under Merab, and he's not happy about this new revelation that it in fact was not Petr Yan sending him well wishes on Twitter, and that he doesn't think they can ever be friends. Because he then goes on to say, fans and friends, listen to this guy now, Petr Yan, never believe a word he says. Just admitted he doesn't write his own social media. Said he never said you friend or said speedy recovery friend yesterday on Twitter. Quote unquote, wasn't him. How quickly he changed his mind. Thought he was humbled when I beat him in 2023 and I was friendly toward him. Forget it now, liar. Game on, dude. Oh, with the robotic arm emojis. Out that is. I like that, dude. But seriously, man, Petr is a fucking bully. I've said it before. These dudes could never not have beef. It's just impossible with the way Petr is and the way that Merab is. And I've said it before. Merab is a genuine, good-hearted dude. So that well wish, or at least what he thought was from Petr Yan on Twitter, probably meant so much to him. And this is just a genuine response from Merab. Merab is actually pissed off that it in fact was not Petr the entire time. This dude is coming, man. He's coming. And this may be the bit of motivation that he needed, because it seems like Merab is always trying to find his motivations leading up to fight, but he's got it for the Trilogy fight, man. How much will it help him? I have no fucking clue. But man, Merab just wanted to be friends with Petr after all, it looks like. And then we have this little Twitter exchange as well. And I'm sure Merab thought this was all in good fun, right? In 2026, my friend, you need wife and kids. And Merab says, I'm looking, man. This guy's been looking for a wife and kids. It's such a genuine fucking response, dude. But it turns out that it was not between him and Petr the whole time. And Merab hates that shit, dude. Merab is too genuine. He's too sincere for this world, man. He really is. Now, when it comes to the excuses for Merab's team, right, John Wood, I was expecting more excuse making from him, but he was being quite vague with his excuse making, saying, well, I don't want to say too much. First I need to go back and talk to Merab and see how he's feeling or whatever. So I don't really have much to go at John Wood for here.
Because I think everybody thought he was up 3, so I didn't want to go crazy, but My brother was octagon side, and he was sort of thinking, am I, after the fact, am I crazy to think Dvalishvili's up 3-0? Jay was wondering if anybody agreed with him. I know John Wood, I think, was caught on a mic saying at some point you're up 3-0. I certainly thought you guys had a good first round, and then Jan did gas in the middle of the fight. But
listen, the only excuse that you have for thinking that Merab could have been 3 up there is if you're in his corner, right? Because as a cornerman, obviously you would be biased. So I can't even really blame Merab's whole team for thinking that he was up, even though it seemed pretty clear that even though Peter on the volume was being outlanded, right, and Merab was showing all the optics and looking really busy in there, but it was pretty clear that Peter was actually landing the big shots and having the big moments each and every round, really. So to think that he's 3-0 up after the third round especially, isn't that where he ate that nasty body kick? Didn't he also get slammed on his fucking head in that round too? So, yeah, man, I'm very confused. And yes, John Anik, yeah, your brother is a fucking insane person for thinking that he was 3 up in that fight if he was actually paying attention to what was taking place. Yes.
And he a great performance, but Merab did give him the fight. He basically needed to do that. He chose to stand up way more,
he was 2 for 29 on his takedowns. He didn't even come close on the takedowns.
Right.
I love this one. I feel like John Anik accidentally kind of shuts down Ray Longo because I feel like he wasn't trying to actually be contentious there. But he did shut down Ray Longo's entire point. Like to say that it was down to Merab's game plan, it was down to Merab, more of what Merab did and less of what Peter did. And believe me, Aljo goes on to make very, very similar excuses and really just being extremely dishonest about what actually took place in there, which is a bad look. Going into the Trilogy fight, you surely don't want your coaches being delusional about why what happened in this fight happened. Because regardless of what they say, I honestly think that Merab fought the same type of fight that he tried to fight against Peter this time. But this time, Peter could match him. Peter had an answer for it. Because there were a lot of opportunities for Peter to land on Merab in their first fight as well, except Peter just wasn't able to let his hands go for one reason or another. But he came in this fight clearly prepared for it, but they're still not really giving him his flowers. They're saying it's a great performance, but then on the other hand, they're saying that Merab kind of let him win by choosing to strike with him, as if Merab didn't go 2 for like 29 on the takedowns. Come on now. And I hate these types of statements from coaches because it's to pretend as if Peter Yan did not have a say in where the fight took place. Right, and it's very dismissive, and it's kind of backhanded because you can give him all the credit in the world, but if you're then going to say that Peter won because Merab just didn't fight him the way that he should have fought him, is ridiculous, and that's completely dismissive of everything that Peter actually did in there. So how can you give him credit, but then remove all of that credit by putting all of the onus on Merab?
Merab dominated the first fight. This one was a little bit more back and forth, but Jan predominantly. I still have to watch it back because I thought we won rounds 1 through 3 and definitely lost rounds 4 and 5. But my friends and everyone I've been talking to, everyone has the scores all over the place. And some people had it 4-1 Jan, some people had it 3-2 Merab.
Just a little more back and forth this time, just a little bit, right? Just a touch more back and forth than the first one, right? But you can just invert the scorecards from the first fight to the second one, and it would be correct, right? 5-0 for Merab, and then 5-0 for Peter. I know everyone's saying 4-1. Some people are even saying 3-2. I would honestly say that 5-0 Peter makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, man, Aljamain Sterling, very, very correct with this take. Just a hair more competitive than the first one.
Yeah, we legitimately thought he was up those. We knew it was close, but we thought he did enough in those rounds to take it. But then I forgot that he got hurt to the body that one time in the round 3, but then he came back and picked him up and dumped him on his head, well, I mean, one got dumped on the head, one got dumped on his ass. So it just really depends on how you're scoring it, how you're looking at it. So
imagine that being your take on how round 3 went. Okay, yeah, I heard him with that body kick, made him fucking scream, right? One of the most damaging shots of the entire fight, of course, got the fight closest to being finished probably of any shot landed, right? That was a big body kick. And Aljamain goes on to say, we picked him up over his shoulders, and then they tried to say that he slammed him on his head and really overinflate the amount of damage that did. But yeah, he threw him down, and then Peter Yan instantly got back up And Peter threw him on his head. Aljamain even says that, and yet still he's confused, and he's not fully decided on how that round could have been scored. He really has to go back and watch it again, even though he knows that Merab was hurt with the body kick, slammed on his fucking head. But still, he has to go back and watch it to really, take a look at the intricacies. It's just such nonsense.
Because I just don't think from what we saw in the back room, the morning shakeout, the week of last week where he's doing his sparring, it just didn't look like the same intensity. The setups didn't look anywhere near the same. They were a lot more predictable. It wasn't like a classic Merab level changes and things like that, pressuring and pacing.
Except it was all the same. The entries were the same. The level changes looked the same. It was all the same. But Peter had the answer this time. I think it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. But these people want to overcomplicate it and try and make it about, in the back room and all the setups, the level changes. They just didn't look the same, as if Peter doesn't have a say in that. Would this be the first time that we've seen a truly great fighter get brought down a peg because of the performance of the other fighter? Sometimes, is it inconceivable to think that a fighter can just go in and shut down your fighter? Right? We can't just be honest about that. I love Merab as a fighter. I'm a huge fan of his. I love Peter as well, of course. But there's no bias here. I'm a big fan of both guys. But what Peter did in there was truly special. And if you didn't watch the fight and you were just basing your opinion based off what these dudes have to say, you would think that it was razor thin.
Jan did some good stuff. We can't take nothing away from him. But part of me also wonders if it's more so what Merab didn't do or a combination of both that made Jan look as good as he looked.
Peter did some good things in there. What a way to describe that performance, eh? He did some good stuff. A few good things. But I do wonder if it was what Merab did that made Peter look so good, right? Once again, right? Peter Yan has no agency, right? He had no say in what happened inside that octagon. It was all up to Merab. This is weird, dude. This is really weird. These guys do not know how to take losses as a camp. It's very strange. They're essentially downplaying Peter Yan's performance, even though he just dominated Merab for 5 rounds. It's so fucking weird.
4 title fights in a year, calendar year, is not the easiest thing to do. And
here's the thing with that excuse, okay? The 4 title fights in a year, it's very admirable of Merab to have even attempted that to begin with, right? It would have been making history for a very good reason. And in fact, he did make history just for attempting it, right? Just stepping in the cage, he already made history, which is an amazing thing. It really is. But Merab wasn't forced into this. He called out Peter for this card. He did that. Suddenly, that excuse is not a valid excuse. Merab made the call. Peter Yan accepted.
It's just, back and forth. Jan landed the better strikes. Merab still, at least from the stat count and from what we were watching, we thought he outlanded him. I guess some of those big strikes, they put a lot more emphasis on those over the other strikes. So,
we need Aljo as an analyst ASAP. ASAP, man. What an assessment, dude. We thought Merab was landing the bigger volume, but Peter was landing the bigger strikes, and I guess the judges were rightfully looking at the more impactful strikes rather than the more window dress and tippy tappy strikes. And I suppose that the judges were slightly weighing up the big shots more, which they're supposed to do, by the way. But yeah, I guess they were doing that. Which obviously that does come as a shocker to Aljamain Sterling, because obviously judges usually don't use the judging criteria correctly. So I can understand his confusion at least a little bit. But on Aljo's own channel, he may have made the strangest excuse of them all.
Because in the back room, which was a little weird too, because during the Moreno fight, we're thinking, okay, we'll get ready. As soon as this fight's over, we'll start getting ready. We start getting warmed up. We did about 15 minutes, maybe a little shy of that, of warming up how we typically do. And Pantoja dislocates his elbow, and it's just a huge curveball in our warm-up. And then we're like, well, we think we did enough.
Oh my God! They didn't get the full warm-up in. Oh my God! Because the Pantoja Van fight ended in 26 seconds. Shouldn't you be prepared for that type of scenario? Shouldn't you be prepared for a fight to end early, as if fights don't end early sometimes? But the freak injury. What if Van had knocked out Pantoja early? Would you have made the same excuse? Would you have made the same excuse if Van actually just slept Pantoja with a right hand in 26 seconds? Would have been the same excuse then? I'm not too sure it would have been for whatever reason. I feel like this is just absolute reaching. And Ray Longo makes a similar point. or excuse, as you could call it. You should call it.
I don't want to take away, but no, he didn't get a chance to do what he normally does every fight that I've been with him. So
Yeah.
So it's just a long list of excuses, man. 4 title defenses in a year by his own choice, right? So he has to take responsibility for that one. Yeah, I mean, he looked flat. Certain things in camp that Aljo was alluding to, which I didn't even include because I couldn't include all the yapping from Aljamain Sterling, but he even gets into certain vague excuses about how certain things during camp and Merab doing this and that differently or whatever, and the fact that they had a short warm-up or a shorter than usual warm-up, and Merab fought in a way that allowed Petr Yan to win, not the other way around, right? Peter didn't fight in a way that allowed him to win. It was actually Merab who fought in a way that allowed Peter to win. Very, very dismissive, and may I say, a little bit gay from Merab's team. I have to admit, I hate this type of shit after the fact. It doesn't matter if I'm a fan of you or if I'm a detractor of yours, right? It does not matter. If your team is making excuses after a loss, man, especially a clean loss like that, especially after it was a war too. Like I hate the fact that fight has to be muddled like this now because it was so damn good, man. Why can't both dudes just walk off into the sunset, right? There has to be all this controversy because fucking Ray Longo and Aljamain Sterling have to open their mouths, dude. John Wood has to open his mouth. But all I can hope for is that Merab heals up well and he comes back and we get that trilogy fight because, man, the first fight was crazy just to see the dominance, and this fight was crazy to see the dominant machine in Merab actually get shut down, right? It was insane to watch, insane performance, but having said that, Merab being in there made the fight an absolute barn burner to watch. So he deserves all the credit, and this isn't some way a switch up on Merab. No, I'm a huge fan. I'm rooting for his return regardless, but the excuses on the side of his coaches and his team, it's just not a good look for him, and I had to point that out. The little exchange with Petr Yan on Twitter is very sincere, and it's exactly what I would expect from Merab. The guy doesn't play around, dude. He wants fucking friends. He wants to make friends with Peter, and he won't stop until they're friends. But all of this just means that the build-up for the third fight will be even juicier, right? Even more hilarious. Imagine the pre-fight press conference. It's going to be a treat for us regardless. But anyway, guys, that does conclude my thoughts on the aftermath of Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili 2. Let me know in the comment section below whether you agree, disagree, whatever your thoughts are in general in life. Just let me know, please. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.